Hello, my darlings. I'm back with another video. This is my Miami thrift stores video. And I had tried to do a top five, but honestly, when I'm home, I am at Sawgrass so much. I'm just gonna be honest with you. When I'm home, I'm at Sawgrass so much. I mean, I thrift when I'm home, but I'm at Sawgrass. I'm at Lincoln Road. I'm hanging with my peoples. I'm at Dolphin Mall, and Sawgrass. Between those two last calls, I don't have time to thrift. I'm kidding. Um, but when I'm home, there really are only there are five thrift stores, but only three chains. Make sense? It'll make sense. Let's get into it. My top three thrift stores in Miami. Okay, so let me say that when I say Miami, I grew up in South Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. And so I shouldn't necessarily say Miami, I should say South Florida, but most people fly to Miami. And so I'm going to say Miami because you can just hop on 95 and get to the rest of these, okay? So, like I said, it's top five, but it's really top three because one of them is a chain. And so I just go to different locations of this one chain, and that is Goodwill, South Florida. I have, excuse me, I've been to Salvation Armies back home, but not compared to Dallas, they're not really saying anything. And I haven't been to all of them. And so there could be some that are really great that I just have never been to. But like I said, I'm always at Sawgrass. So, it is what it is. But Goodwill, South Florida. There are three locations that I go to regularly when I'm home, okay? That's Goodwill, South Florida off of Hollywood Boulevard, Goodwill, South Florida in Margate off of 441, and then Goodwill, South Florida off of Oakland Park Boulevard. So if you're staying in Fort Lauderdale proper, and you're going off to the beach on Oakland Park Boulevard, there's one right there on the left. I think it's Catacorner Dixie Highway. I'm not sure. But regardless, those are the three that I frequent when I'm home because once again, I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. Um, but I lived in Miami as an adult. So when I'm home and I'm chilling with my parents and I want to go get a thrift thrill, what I'll do is I'll go to the one off of Oakland Park one day, I'll go to one in Margate one day, and I'll go to the one off of Hollywood Boulevard. So you're saying, Dion, which one? I don't have all the time to go to three in one day. I mean, you could go to three in one day, but if you don't and you want to know which one is the best, I would say the one in Margate off of 441. If I'm down there for a weekend and I ain't got time to be doing this and the other, I will for sure go to the Goodwill, South Florida. Um, and off of Margate. Now, if I'm in South Florida, but I'm staying with one of my girlfriends, like if, I see my parents, I'm like, you know what, let me go spend some time in Miami, like Miami with my girlfriends, then I will go to the Goodwill Calle. Ding, 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 ding. You like that? But Goodwill Calle, I love because for me, I think Miami has great vintage, and you will find some really great vintage pieces at this store. Will you find designer? I haven't found designer there, but you very well might. I haven't necessarily found designer at any of the Goodwills in South Florida. Um, and when I'm home, like I said, I frequent them often. What you will find is a good assortment of everything. You'll find a mishmash of everything. So, you will find Zara. You might not find Topshop, but you will find Zara. You will find Ann Taylor. You will find Banana Republic. You will find vintage. So that's what I will say about Goodwill, South Florida, is that because of the population there, you will find a lot of vintage. So a lot of vintage purses, a lot of vintage jewelry. A lot of the coats that I've gotten have been from Goodwill, South Florida. And you're like, who the heck needs a coat in South Florida? But you have a lot of snowbirds down there who bring their stuff and, they may get rid of it or for whatever, if they may have passed away, and their family just wants to clear out their closets and they donate it to Goodwill. It is what it is. South Florida is what it is. Um, and so for that, I will say that Goodwill, South Florida, if you're looking for vintage, if you're looking for unique pieces, Goodwill, South Florida is where you want to go. It's different with Dallas and it's different than Chicago, in that these are very metropolitan cities. Um, South Florida, my home, other than London, South Florida, because of the population, just has very unique, very vintage, just beautiful pieces. And so that's what I go to Goodwill for when I'm back home, is to get pieces that I'm not going to find anywhere else. So Goodwill, South Florida. All right. So let's get to number two. So number two on my list is World Thrift in Lake Worth, Florida. Now this is in Palm Beach County, so it is a drive. It's a drive from Fort Lauderdale, so I know if you're in Miami, it's definitely going to be a drive to go all the way up to Palm Beach. But um, this Palm Beach, once again, if you're from South Florida, then you know Palm Beach, okay? You know Palm Beach money is long, okay? If you're not from South Florida, hopefully during the election, you learned that Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach are the blue the blue counties of the state. I thought it was so funny watching CNN and just looking at that Florida versus the rest of Florida. But I digress. Um, Palm Beach County is similar to Broward and Dade in that it is a very it's a retiree community. There is a large population of retirees, snowbirds that will come down for the winter and fly back up for the summer. And so the same population that of people that you may have in Broward or even in Dade. Um, it's the money is longer in Palm Beach. There's a lot more disposable income in certain parts of Palm Beach. Let me not blanket statement and say Palm Beach got money because that's not the case. Um, but the thrift store up there, World Thrift, just does reflect the population and the type of items that they're selling in their thrift store. So you once again, you'll find a lot of vintage. You will find I have found designer at World Thrift. I haven't found any at Goodwill, but I have found designer at World Thrift in Lake Worth. And I found just some beautiful, beautiful vintage pieces. So once again, the population is different than Dallas or Chicago, or I think anywhere in the world. I think South Florida is just different, and it's a whole different America. It's just a totally different population. Um, but it's so worth it, and you will find some really great items here. It is Palm Beach, and they have some of the best shopping. That Boca Town Center, growing up in South Florida, when I wanted the good stuff, I went right up to Boca. So you will find some good stuff, but I go for one of a kind pieces in vintage. That being said, go to Palm Beach and use your Yelp app, because I think that even in some of the smaller thrift stores, you're going to find some really great items. I've been to a few thrift stores in Palm Beach, but when I go to Palm Beach, I'm just going to World Thrift. I'm not like, it's a drive. I'm just going to World Thrift, do some digging. Once again, it's not organized by size or anything like that. They do have it sectioned out by types of clothing, like pants and shirts and stuff like that. But World Thrift is one of my favorites because when I thrift, I'm looking for pieces that nobody has. That's really the reason why I thrift. If it's not, resale, it's designer or just pieces that you're never going to find anywhere else. So World Thrift, Lake Worth, Florida is my number two. Let's go to my number one. All right, so my number one, you've heard me talk about it. I talk about it all the time. It's my favorite thrift store in the world, Red, white, and blue in Hialeah. Jesus. I love this thrift store so much. It is just so full of unique pieces. It's in Hialeah. I love the flavor of Miami. When you go to Red, White, and Blue in Hialeah, that is Miami. Like South Beach, Coconut Grove, Hialeah, like that is Miami. And so I love being in the mix, honey. And the clothes and oh, now let me tell you something. It's cash only. Don't get fooled going in there with your credit card. It's cash only. So make sure you I would say bring a good $100 to $200, depending on what you want to do. There's an ATM in the grocery store next door. You'll be all right. But it is cash only, and most of my vintage handbags I've gotten from here. I found vintage Christian Dior. I found vintage everything in the store, and it's again because of the population. Um, and it's just beautiful. Now you will find some crap, okay? I'm not gonna say in any thrift store you're gonna find crap, okay? That's not to say. Um, but Buried treasure can be found here. Beautiful vintage treasures can be found here. So if you are looking for pieces that you're not going to find, it's just, I can't say enough. And it's owned, let me say that. It is run by the same people that own World Thrift, I believe. So it's the same setup. And it is just, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain how fabulous it is. It's just wonderful. And vintage, you will find vintage, vintage, vintage. And once again, I think, not I think, it is my favorite because this is where I go to find that piece that you're not going to find anywhere else. And I'm always going to get a compliment on it. And, I don't even think I've seen, I'm sure they have like Ann Taylor and Banana Republic, stuff like that, but they have brands that you've never heard of. They have brands that are like 40, 50 years old, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful vintage piece. I mean, there's no other way to say it. It's just when you go here, you're going to find something that um, has aged and is beautiful and at a really good price. Now, you will find Zara. You definitely will find, some higher end pieces. Um, I have found like some Kate Spade shoes and stuff like that, but I don't go there for that. I go to Red, White, and Blue for vintage, and I go there for stuff that nobody has. Jewelry that you've never seen before, handbags that you've never seen before. You'll find Dooney and Burke and stuff like that there, but it's just, mm, I love it. I love Red, White, and Blue. I love going home and going to Red, White, and Blue. So that being said, that is my Miami list. And if you're in South Florida and you need more direction, you can definitely tag me and I will let you know where you need to go. But this is really like Goodwill, South Florida, World Thrift, and my beloved Red, White, and Blue. Carry cash. It's going to be packed. It's going to be stuffy. It's going to be messy, but you're going to come out of there with such great pieces if you're willing to do the dig. All right. Love you. We never pay retail. Tag me. Like I said, I am Dion Dean. If you find something fabulous. So even if you don't, I want to see what you bought. All right. Love you. Bye.